Hello everyone, welcome to the first part of Lab1 video tutorial. In this tutorial, we'll be going through the creation of JUnit test cases and seeing how they are used to verify a class. So testing is a very important step in development of any project. And Java has a JUnit test case which can be used to test the functionality of individual classes. So let's see how we can create the JUnit test case to test the persons class that we created in the pre-lab. So before we start, we'll be deleting the main.java file that we created in pre-lab because we don't need it in this lab. We'll go and right click on main.java and click delete, which will ask you if you're sure to delete the main.java, and you click OK. So now we have only one class in the source package. So we'll, we'll keep a separate testing folder for the JUnit test case that we'll be creating. To create a new source folder, we'll click on the package name, project name, click on new, and then go to source folder. We'll be naming this folder as test. Click finish. Similar to the source folder, we'll also create a new package in the test folder by right clicking on the test new package. This package will be named as edu.ece373.lab1.test. Click finish. So now that the package has been created, we'll add the JUnit test case to this package. To add JUnit test case, right click on the package that we just created, go to new, and if you go down you can see a JUnit test case, so click on that. A few things to note on this page is that you should select the new JUnit Jupyter test case. The source folder should now be your project name / test, and the package name should correspond to the test package. Usually the name of the JUnit test case is the class name followed by test. So here we are testing for person. So the name of the JUnit test case is person test, and class under test is person. If you just type person, you'll see that class under test does not exist. So it errors out saying class under test does not exist. The reason is that the person class is not in the current project, but it's in the source folder under the package name edu.ece373.lab1. So you should provide the complete path of the person's class, which is edu.ece373.lab1. Do not click finish, go and click on next. So here we can choose the methods that we can test for. I'll be selecting the 3 constructors and the 2 setters. I'll also click on the create final method steps and create tasks for generated test methods. Then go ahead and click finish. Before it finishes the action, it will ask you if you want to add the JUnit file libraries to the build path. So you should add this library to your project. So 2 things have happened after we click finish. One is that it has created a person's test.java file under the test folder, and it has also created a JUnit 5 library and linked it to our project. If you go and see the person's test.java, it will have 5 tests that it has created. So the first 3 are for the constructors, and the last two are the setters that we selected. By default, if you go and run this file, all the test cases will fail because we are asserting fail in each of the test cases. To run a JUnit test case, you go to the Run tab, select Run as JUnit test, and you can see that all the tests have failed because we are asserting fail. So it's not. So this is an expected thing that we are seeing fails now. Let's go ahead and check, see how we write a JUnit test case for the default constructor that we have constructed. So we are testing for the default constructor. Let's first create an object called person p1 with the default constructor. Okay, so now if we go and check the persons.java file, we see that the default constructor creates a person object with name unknown and max books as 2. So we have the name as unknown and the max books are set to 2. So we'll be testing for these two values, these two conditions in this test. We'll be using assert equals method. This method asserts if the two values are equal, and if it is not equal, the assertion error is thrown with the given messages. So we'll first check for the name of the object that has been created by the default constructor, name test with default constructor. So assert equals has two arguments. One is the actual value, the second one is the expected value. So when we are using assert equals for the name, we know that the actual value is unknown since we are setting it as unknown. And then to get the name of the p1 object, we'll be using the getName method. So unknown is the actual value and the expected value is p1.getName. If we'll also use the same analogy to test the max books for p1. So assert equals the expected value is the actual value is 2 and the expected value is p1.getMaxBooks, which should also return 2 in this case. Now if we go ahead and save this and run the JUnit test again, we'll see that the test person has passed and all other test cases have failed. Let's go ahead and write the second constructor test case. So in here we are testing for the person, string, and int. So we are testing for the second constructor, which defines both the name and the max books in the constructor itself. Let's create an object p2 with the new constructor, which has both name. So let's name the person as Joey, and let's give him 500 as his max books limits. Using the same analogy, we'll test the name of this constructor. So assert equals. The actual value here is for the name is Joey, and we'll get the name of P2 object by using the get method getter get name. Similar is the case for testing for max books. So we know that the actual value is 500. And to get the max book limits for the P2 object, we'll use p2.getMaxBooks method. We'll save this file. We'll again go and run as JUnit test. So now you see that test person string and test person are passing, but the other three test cases are failing. So I'll go ahead and type in the other test cases, and it should look like so. So I've written all the rest of the three test cases, and it should look something like this. I'll now go and test, run it as a JUnit test. Once you have the complete file with all the tests written, you should get all check marks in front of the tests that you have conducted using the test case. Now that we have the test case passing, that means the functionality of persons.java class is correct. The next step is to create an archive zip file that can be used by other people for in their projects. So to create an archive zip file, you will go to your package explorer, click on your project name, go to file, click on export, click on general, and click the archive file, click next, drop down the project name you want to archive. You should unselect the bin, and you should make sure that .classpath and .project are checked. You should enter the location and file name of your zip file, and then you should click finish. Well, if your file already exists, it will ask you to overwrite, and I said yes. So this is the end for your Lab 1 Part 1 tutorial. Thank you.